if y'all need me to talk louder, then please let me know in the comments. And today we are reading the Bible pages 19 to 21. And this is the Bible we are reading. And I still have some water just in case I need it. Anyways, plus this time, since my last bracelet broke, I got one and it has a cross on this part. And it is this. And it says, Friends in Christ. I think it's pretty cool. Oh, hey, for whoever just joined. Anyways, trying to fit my bracelet back on. I got a big hand. Oh, wait, they left. That's okay. Even if there's no one on the live, it is okay. Oh, wait, hi. For some reason, it shows that there's no one on the live. Must be glitched out or something. Anyways, I was about to read page 18. My bad. I did not mean to almost read page 18. Plus, I am a pretty slow reader for those who do not know, and my hair is a mess. I just. It's okay though. It's okay. Anyways, let's read now. The wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him that he might deliver him out of their hands and bring him back to his father. Oh yeah, plus ignore like if you hear dogs barking in the background, then that's actually my dogs outside right now because they're outside in our yard right now, and one of them has pretty much of a loud mouth, so ignore it. And if y'all need me to talk louder since my dog's is outside being loud, then let me know because I will talk louder if you need it. So it came to pass when Joseph had come to his brothers that they stripped Joseph of his tunic, the tunic of many colors that was on him. Then they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it, and they sat down to eat a meal. Then they lifted their eyes and looked, and there was company of Ishmaelites, I think that's how you pronounce it, coming from Gilead, with their camels bearing spices, balm, and myrrh, I think. Myrrh. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to find the correct way to pronounce it. On their way to carry them down into Egypt, so Judah said to his brothers, What profit is there if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to Ishmaelites and let our hand and not let our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brothers listened. Then Midianite's traders passed by, so the brothers pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And they took Joseph to Egypt. Then Reuben returned to the pit, and indeed Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his clothes and returned to his brothers and said, The lad is no more, and I, where shall I go? So they took Joseph's tunic, killed a kid of goats, and dipped the tunic in the blood. Then they sent the tunic of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, We have found this. Do you know whether it is your son's tunic or not? And he recognized it and said, It is my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him. Without doubt, Joseph is torn into pieces. Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son for many days. And all his sons and his daughters arose to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, "For I shall go down into the grave to my son in the morning." Thus his father wept for him, and now the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Oh, hey, other person that just joined, or I don't know how long you've been here, actually. Anyways, it came to pass at that time that Judah departed from his brothers and visited a certain Adullamite, I think, whose name is Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Kenite whose name was Shua, and he married her and into her, and so she conceived and bore a son, and he called and he called his name She conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again and bore a son, and called his name Shelah. He was at Chezib when she bore him. Then Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord killed him. And Judah said to Onan, "Go in to your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother." But Onan knew that the heir would not be his, and it came to pass when he went into his brother's wife that he emitted on the ground, lest he should give an heir to his brother. And the thing which he displeased the Lord, therefore killed him also. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow in your father's house till my son Shelah is grown." For he said, "Lest he also die like his brothers." And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. Now in the process of time, the daughters of Shua, Judah's wife, died, and Judah comforted and went up to his sheep shearers, I think it is, at Timnah. And he and his friend Hira and Adullamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, "Look, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep." So she took off her widow's garments, covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place which was on the way to given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she turned to her by the way. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit confused. By the way, and said, "Please let me come in to you," for he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. So she said, "What will you give me that you may come into me?" And he said, "I will send a young goat from the flock." So she said, "Will you give me a pledge till you send it?" Then he said, "What pledge shall I give you?" So she said, "Your signet and cord, and your staff that is in your hand." Then he gave them to her and went into her. I am going to get some water real quick. I think YouTube's been a little messed up here lately because of the fact that, like, last live, it showed that no one was in, but there was people in the live, like someone else. And this live, whenever I first started, it showed that no one was in it either, whenever there was actually people in it. Because there was someone else in, but I can't really tell if they left or not because it's showing 0 again. Which is my point, because YouTube has been messed up. Anyways. And she conceived him, so she arose and went away and laid aside her veil and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his first friend, the Adullamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand. But he did not find her. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where is Harlot, who was openly by the roadside?" Then they said, "There was no Harlot in this place." So he returned to Judah and said, "I cannot find her." Also the men of the place said, "There was no Harlot in this place." Then Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, lest we be shamed. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her." And it came to pass about 3 months after that Judah was told, saying, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot. Furthermore, she is with child by harlotry." So Judah said, "Bring her out and let her be burned." When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "By the man to whom these belong, I am with child." And she said, "Please determine whose these are, the signet, and cord and staff." So Judah acknowledged them and said, "She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah my son, and she never knew her again." Now it came to pass all the time for giving birth, that behold, twins were in her womb. And it was so, when she was giving birth, that the one put out its hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." Then it happened, as he drew back his hand, that his brother came out unexpectedly, and she said, "How did you break through? This breach be upon you." Therefore his name was called Perez. Afterward his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Now Joseph had been taking down Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, and an Egyptian bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian, and his master saw that the Lord was with him. So Joseph found favor in his sight and served him. Then he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had he put under his authority of his well put under his authority. 1 second. Okay, yeah. So it was for the time that he had made him overseer of his house, and all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in the house and the field. Thus he left that he had in Joseph's hand, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. Did not know. Wait, no, I read that one, sorry. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance, and it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast longing eyes on Joseph, and she said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Look, my master does not know what is with me in this house, in the house, and he has committed all that he has to my hand. There is no one greater in this house than I, nor has he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife? How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" So it was, as he spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not heed her to lie with her or be with her. But it happened about this time when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside, so that she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his garment in her hand and fled and ran outside. And so it was, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, she called to the men of her house and spoke to them, saying, "See, he has brought in to us a new Hebrew to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And it happened, when he heard I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled and went outside. So she kept his garment with her until his master came home. Then she spoke to him with words of these, saying, "The Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came in to me to mock me." So it happened, as I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled outside. So it was then, when his master heard the words which his... We are going on to page 20 now. I am going to quickly get some water so that my mouth don't end up hurting, or I don't get a dry throat from this or anything. I heard that scraping noise. That was paper, like, was barely going upwards. But the thing is, I got no fan on. It's okay though. Anyways, these is the other two pages we are reading. Anyways, even though there's no one on this live right now, it is okay with me because people can go back and look at it. Page is moving again, but it's okay. And I wanted to say something real quick because I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for 1K subs. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for supporting me. Plus, in my community post, it shows what type of editing tutorial you would like. And you can vote on it. So if you want, then you can go there and vote. Plus, I got other things planned for the 1K special too. Because since it's 1,000 subscribers, I wanted to make it pretty special. And I don't really know how to explain it, but it's a video I'm going to be doing. Like another video. And a fan art contest. And then the tutorial. I almost forgot for a second. I'm sorry. Anyways, I will continue since you all have gotten on here to watch, well, to hear me read the Bible. Now, Bob spoke to him, saying, "Your servant did to me after this manner, that his anger arose. Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the prison, but the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy, and he gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners who were in prison. Whatever they did there, it was his doing. The keeper of the prison did not look into anything that was under Joseph's authority, because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made it prosper." The prisoner's dreams. It came to pass after these things that the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their lord. The king of Egypt and Pharaoh was angry with his two officers. The chief butler and I just got a notification, I'm sorry. And the chief baker, so he put them in custody of the house of the captain of the guard in the prison, the place where Joseph was confined, and the captain of guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, so they were in custody for a while. Then the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, had a dream. Both of them, each man's dream in one night, and each man's dream with its own interpretation, I think. Interpretation, I think that's it. And Joseph came into them in the morning and looked at them and saw they were sad. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in the custody of his lord's house, saying, "Why do you look so sad today?" And they said to him, "We each had a dream, and there is no interpreter of it." So Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell them to me." Then the chief butler told his dream to Joseph and said to him, "Behold, in my dream a vine was before me, and the vine bore 3 branches. It was a though it was as though budded, its blossoms shot forth, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. The emperor's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand." So Joseph said to them, oh wait, I read that part, I'm sorry. And Joseph said to them, "This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Now within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your place. And you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand according to the former manner when you are when you were his butler, but remember me when it is well with you. And please show kindness to me, make mention of me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house. For indeed I was stolen away from the land of Hebrews, and also I have done nothing here that they should put me into the dungeon." Then the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good. He said to Joseph, "I also was in my dream, and there were 3 white baskets on my head. In the uppermost basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket of my head." Then Joseph answered and said, "This is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head from you and hang you on a tree, and all the birds will eat your flesh from you." Now it came to pass on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he made a feast for all his servants, and lifted up the head of the chief butler and the chief baker among his servants. Then he restored the chief butler to his butlership again, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph has interpreted to them. Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. We are almost on the other half of page 20. Then it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh had a dream, and behold, he stood by the river. Suddenly there came up out of the river 7 cows, fine looking and fat, and they fed in the meadow. Then behold, 7 other cows came up after them out of the river, ugly and gaunt, and stood by the other cows on the bank of the river. And the ugly and gaunt cows ate up the 7 fine-looking fat cows. So Poroah awoke. He slept and dreamed a second time. The suddenly 7 heads of grain came upon. We are on the second half of page 20. Oh my god, why do I feel sick to my stomach? Whew, all this reading makes my jaw hurt. But I haven't read this much out loud. Like, oh, I don't know for how long or even if I've read this much in a day out loud to other people. I'm glad I'm able to do loves though. I really like doing loves. Plus they're actually really fun. Because I like to spread the word of God. Anyways. I'm gonna check what time it is real quick. Oh. 6:10. Anyways. One stalk plumped and good, then behold, 7 thin heads, black, I think. I'm sorry, excuse me. By the east wind sprang up after them, and the 7 thin heads devoured the 7 plump and full heads. So Paro awoke, indeed it was a dream. Now it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men. And Paro told them his dreams, but there was no one who could interpret them for Paro. Then Chief Butler spoke to Paro, saying, I remembered my faults this day when Paro was angry with his servants and put me in custody in the house of the captain of the guard. Both me and Chief Baker, we each had a dream in one night. He and I each dreamed according to the interpretation of his own dream. Now there was a young Hebrew man with us there, a servant of the captain of the guard, and we told him, and he interpreted our dreams for us. To each man he interpreted according to his own dream, and it came to pass as he interpreted us, well, for us, so it happened. He restored me to my office, and he hanged him. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him quickly out of the dungeon, and he shaved, changed his clothing, and came to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it, but I have heard it said of you that you can understand a dream to interpret it. So Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not me, it is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, Behold, in my dream I stood on the bank of a river. Suddenly 7 cows came up out the river, fine looking and fat, and they fed in the meadow. Then behold, 7 other cows came up after them, poor and very ugly and gaunt, such ugliness as I have never seen in the land of Egypt. And the gaunt and ugly cows ate up the first 7 and fat cows. When they had eaten them up, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were just as ugly as at the beginning. So I awoke. Also, I saw in my dream that suddenly 7 heads came up, one stalk full and good. Then behold, 7 heads withered then, and blotted by the east wind, sprang up after them, and the then heads devoured the 7 good heads. So I told this to the magicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, the dreams of Pharaoh are one, God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 good cows are 7 years. The 7 good heads are 7 years. The dreams are one, and the 7 thin and ugly cows which came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty heads blotted by the east wind are 7 years of famine, I think. This is the thing which I have spoken to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. All the land of Egypt, but after him 7 years of famine will arise, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and all the famine will deplete the land, so the plenty will not be known in the land because of the famine following Pharaoh twice, because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Therefore, let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land to collect plentiful years, and let them gather all the food of those good years that are coming, and store up grain under authority of Pharaoh, and let them keep good foods in the cities. Then that food shall be a reverse for the land of the 7 years of famine which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land may not perish during the famine. So the advice was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find such a one as this, a man whom is the Spirit of God? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, inasmuch as God has shown you all this, there is no one discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall. Now that is like page 20. So we are going on to page 21, plus my jaw is hurting right now. So I'm going to get some water real quick. I might need some more for next live. Anyways. By the way, if you hear background noises, that's more likely like my siblings or my parents or my animal, one of the three. And yeah. Plus, I do have a guest over right now, so. But it's okay because they're all outside right now. And even if she was inside, it's okay. Because I'm pretty sure she's a Christian too, so it's okay. Plus, I don't really mind my siblings like walking in here because like maybe they want to hear over this or something. Something got stuck in my nose for a second. I'm sorry. Very stuck. So okay. For a second, there was like something stuck in my throat. I think I might need to go blow my nose real quick. No, I can't wait because there is just like one more page. See, plus there is 613 pages, but like some of them is like next steps and stuff like that. And one of them is getting to know God. I will probably read that page though, whenever we get to it, but it's like very far away. But we'll get to it eventually. But in all, there is 608. Well, 608 pages in all. So, since I'm doing a lot every day, basically, but sometimes I'm not able to. Let's see. 608 divided by 3. Woo! That's a lot of lives. But I'll probably end up having to do 202 lives to finish the Bible. If I did one every day, though, that's a lot. Because, like, one page. But then again, that will probably help me because my jaw hurts easily. But I'd rather do 3. Because, yes. Even though it takes, like, almost an hour or two. Well, at least less than an hour usually. Like, once I'm done, I would, like, talk and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll stop talking now. I'm sorry. Anyways, on the page 21, Genesis, I think it is, 43:7. Be ruled according to your word, only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, See, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring off his hand and put it on Joseph's hand. Then he clothed him in garments of fine linen, and put a gold chain around his neck, and he had him ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried out before him, bowed the knee. So he set him over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh also said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent, no man may lift his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath, I think, Paneah, and he gave him a wife, Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. So Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. Now, in the 7 plentiful years of the ground brought forth abundantly. So he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid the food in the cities. He laid up every city the food of the fields which surrounded them. Joseph gathered very much grain as the sand of the sea until he stopped counting, for it was measurable. And to Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, firstborn Manasseh, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second called Ephraim, for God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Then the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Egypt ended. All the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph had said. The famine was in all the land. It was in all lands, but in all in all the land of Egypt were bread. Well, there was bread. So when all the land of Egypt were famished, I think the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Then Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, Go to Joseph. Whatever he says, you to, well, whatever he says to you, do. The famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians. And the famine became severe. Well, yeah, I'm not wrong actually. I thought I read it wrong for a second. Severe in the land of Egypt. So all countries came to Joseph in Egypt to buy grain. Because the famine was severe in all the lands. Well, because the famine was severe in all lands. Dang it. It's already 40 minutes too, but it is okay. No matter how long it takes, I will spend my whole day if I have to finish this. So it's okay, I'm not going anywhere. When Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, "Why do you look at another? Well, at one another." And he said, "Indeed, I have heard there is grain in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there that we may live and not die." So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt, but Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brother, for he said, "Lest some calamity befall him." And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was governor over the land, and it was he who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brother came and bowed down before him, their faces to the earth. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he acted as a stranger to them and spoke roughly to them. Then he said to them, "Where do you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." So Joseph recognized his brothers, and they did not recognize him. Then Joseph remembered the dreams which he had dreamed about them, and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's sons. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies." And he said to them, "No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said, "Your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And the fact the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more." But Joseph said to them, "It is as I spoke to you, saying, You are spies. In this manner you shall be tested by the law of Peroah. You shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him bring your brother, and you shall be kept in prison, that your words may be tested to see whether there is any truth in you." We are on the other half of page 21 now. I can't remember if I told you I was going to 21. Um, well, if y'all didn't know, I'm on page 21, and I'm at the half of it now. I'm sorry if I didn't tell you all. I don't know if I forgot or not. Why did my voice go weird? Like, I have voice cracks and everything while doing this, and I don't know why, so. Or else, by the law of Peroah, surely you are spies. So he put them all together in prison 3 days. And Joseph said to them the third day, "Do this and live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house. But you go and carry grain for the famine of your houses, and bring your youngest brother to me. So your words will be verified, and you shall not die." And they did so. Then they said to one another, "We are truly guilty concerning our brother. For we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not hear. Therefore, the distress has come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, Did I not speak to you, saying, Do not sin against the boy, and you would not listen? Therefore, behold, his blood is now required of, for he spoke through an interpreter. And he turned himself away from them and wept. Then he returned to them again and talked with them. And he took Simon from them and bound him before their eyes. I need to get some more water real quick. I'm sorry. I'm probably just gonna drink the rest of this water this live since I'm almost out. Anyways, the brothers returned to Canaan. Then Joseph gave a command to fill their sacks with grain, to restore every man's money to his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. Thus he did for them, so they loaded their donkeys with the grain and departed from there. But as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey feed at the encampment, he saw his money, and there it was in the mouth of his sack. So he said to his brothers, My money has been restored, and there it is in my sack. Then their hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, what is it that God has done to us? Then they went to Jacob their father in the land of Canaan and told him all that had happened to them, saying, The man who is the Lord, the man who is Lord of the land spoke roughly to us and took us for spies of the country. But we said to him, we are honest men, we are not spies. You are 12 brothers, sons of our father, one is no more, and the youngest is with our father this day in the land of Canaan. Then the Lord of the country, said to us, By this I will know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me. Take food for famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother to me. So I shall know that you are not spies, but that you are honest men. I will grant your brother to you, and you may trade in the land. Then it happened as they emptied their sacks that surprisingly each man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And their father said to them, You have bereaved me. Joseph is no more. Simon is no more. And you want to take Benjamin. All these things are against me. Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, Kill my 2 sons, if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you. But he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If any calamity should befall him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave. Now the famine was severe in the land, and it came to pass when they had eaten up the grain which they had bought from Egypt, their father said to them, Go go back, buy us a little food. But Judah spoke to him, saying, The men solemnly warned us, saying, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you send your brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you will not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, You shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. For Israel said, Why did you deal so wrongfully with me? And as to the man, whether you had another brother. But they said, the man asked us pointedly about ourselves and our family, saying, "Is your father still alive? Have you another brother?" And we told him, according to these words. Could we possibly known that he would say, "Bring your brother down"? Anyways, it is actually almost an hour since this club has started, but that was all for page 21. And next time we're going to reach page 22, 23, and 24. So that is all for today. And have an amazing day or not, whatever one or whatever time zone it is for you all. And thank you so much for 1K subs again. I really appreciate that. Anyways, ending the live now. Goodbye.